In this lesson, let's explain what happens when you run a C program. First, what is a C program? As we've seen before, you created a file, and that file is called source code. And that is what you had control over. When you used an editor to type, remember you typed main, the function name, and then opened curly brace and put a whole bunch of code here and closed it and saved it. Then what you did is you did a couple things, because one, you've also included with a directive some sort of a library file. In our case was stdio.h. So really there are two files associated with the process we've done before. There is a library file, which is really a header file. Your file, together merged, we call that linking. All right, so what's going to happen? Well, your source code needs to be compiled and then linked to the library file that's in there to produce an executable that you can run. And typically, that file will have a .exe extension. Okay, so if I have a program and I wrote the code here, then I can go ahead and say compile. What happens, two things happen. It's a compiling and linking that produces an executable, which will be a file, so it'll have a file name with a .exe extension. Okay, now what do? Well, you can run this file to run your program. What effect does that have on your machine? Aha. Your machine has memory in it, and it's got a processor. And so what it will do, it will reserve memory space for your program. In there, it will load all of these instructions in a format that your computer understands. So it will load them up right here, all of the instructions that you had here and in the library file, so for the computer to go through them sequentially. Okay, so all of this is stored in memory. So all of your instructions are there. What else could be stored in here? Well, what if your program requires data? So let's look at the program as a system. Here's your program running. Okay, so sometimes it needs an input from a user, from, let's say, a keyboard, right? So it could be coming in from there, or it could be coming in from a file. Okay, so you have a lot of areas where data could come from. And then you need some sort of an output. Maybe the output goes to a file as well, or to the screen, right? All right, so your computer handles all that with the operating system. So your operating system is always interacting with your program that's in memory. So it's important to understand that memory is going to be organized in a manner the operating system will understand how to use it. So it can handle the inputs, it can handle the outputs, and it can handle the processing of your inputs into valid outputs or predictable outputs or desired outputs based on what this program is supposed to do.